In my 2021 Fuel EX 9.8 XT, and it is a size medium in Rage Red and Raw Carbon. So if you look close, it's kind of tough to see right now that it's not in the light, but you can see all the carbon. There we go. So the 9.8 is the Trek OCLV carbon frame with a magnesium linkage arm, and it has the stash box. So got spare tube and CO2 tire lever and an inflator in here, just in case I need it. Also, it's got Trek knock block, which honestly I've heard people complain about it before, but I never ever notice it. And then we'll start up top. Got the old Ergon GE1 Slim grips, P&W dropper lever, Bontrager 35mm clamp, 40mm or 45mm stem with Bontrager Line Pro 35 handlebars. Brakes, I got SLX, I think they're 7120 4-piston. I have the resin pads in there right now. Not a huge fan of the resin pads. I like the bite of steel pads better. And then, so since this is the XT build, it's got XT 8100 12 speed. It's 10 to 51 cassette, I believe, with the XT M8100 long cage derailleur. It did come with XT cranks, but they were 175s, and I find that 175s are too long for my legs. So I had these Race Face Effect R cranks, which are almost, I think they're actually lighter than the XT cranks. And then I have the Race Face 32 chainring for that. So that's the first thing I changed. One of the other things I changed was the fork. It came with a 36 with a grip damper, and I much prefer the feel of RockShox forks. So I put a Lyric Ultimate on here. It's at 150 right now, but I do believe I'm gonna lower it to 140 because I like the way that this bike rides for a trail bike. So this is basically my local trail bike, like local trails and cross country, I guess. Not really the way it's built right now. This is kind of my do-it-all bike, but not bike park. I have a 2021 Slash for bike park and enduro racing. Bontrager Aeolus comp saddle on top of a Line Elite post. And then I also changed the shock. Not a fan of the reactive, so we went with a 210 by 55 Super Deluxe Ultimate. And then I also put the Magnite can on there. Gotten a lot of questions whether the Magnite can fits or not, so for what it's worth, that's the clearance. I have no clearance issues, no contact right there. Same thing, rear brakes, SLX, 4-piston. Rotors are 180 in the back, 180 in the front. And got my Garmin mounted on my top tube, like that, just because I don't really like it up on the bars. And last but not least, Bontrager Line Elite 30 carbon wheels with Maxxis tires. So I have a Assegai 2.5 in the front and an Aggressor 2.5 in the rear right now. I'm a huge fan of this bike. I think if you put a 150 fork on it and had it in low and this big shock and this was your only bike, I think that this would do a good job at everything. I don't necessarily think it's good at any one thing. I think it's good at everything. Like, it's not an enduro bike. The Slash is a better enduro bike. It's not a cross-country bike. The Top Fuel is a better cross-country or down-country bike. It's not a Super Caliber. It's not a Remedy. It's not anything besides a Fuel EX. I think that this bike is good at everything, but it's not necessarily the best at anything. I can get away with riding this at bike parks and a little bit rowdier stuff because I'm really smooth on the bike, but I just grab my Slash and I don't have to be smooth. So right now, like I said earlier, I have it set up with the 150 Lyric and the Super Deluxe Ultimate, and it's in the high position. So pretty similar geometry numbers besides the bottom bracket height that I gained from putting a 150 fork on it, as just running it in 140 and low. It has the same head tube and seat tube angle. I waited quite a long time for this. I ordered it in about October and I got it in April. So I waited like over 6 months for it. I'm glad I did. I love this bike. If I had to choose this bike or my Slash, which I'll have a bike check video on that too. Honestly, think I would choose this one because I think the Slash is a little bit much. So I live in southern New Hampshire and a lot of my trails are pedally, don't have a ton of elevation. So I think if I were to pick one out of the two, I would pick this bike because it would be versatile. If I wanted to over fork it, put a big shock, put it in low, put big tires and a cush core on it, you could pretty much do anything except for like the biggest of drops or stuff at like Highland. Like I wouldn't do this pink bike drop or any sort of big drops on that, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't use this bike for everything, and I have, but the way I had it set up was a little bit more on the light trail, on the trail bike, lighter duty side of things. So now that I've got about 200 miles on this bike, I'm gonna do a review video in the future, but thank you for watching this quick bike check and stick around for some more content. Thanks for watching. Keep shredding.